Washington Talk, 1170 KCBQ. Thank you for joining us for the Rick Amato Show, presented by the Washington Times. The Rick Amato Show. Politics, pop culture, national security. If you would like to call Rick, get on the line now at 1-888-344-1170. 1-888-344-1170.
The Rick Amato Show Solid Gold Studios are sponsored by AmericanBullion.com. Piece of gold, peace of mind. Call AmericanBullion.com and receive your free gold guide. 800-531-6525.
Now, here's Rick Amato.
Welcome back to the 10 o'clock hour. This is Barry Jantz sitting in as guest host for Rick Amato on KCBQ. As I mentioned at 9 o'clock, Rick is working on some sponsorships on the business side of things for this radio show. We couldn't be here tonight, but I'm glad to be here. We were talking to Vince Vasquez from the city of San Diego and talking about ganja. We were talking about medical marijuana dispensaries in the city of San Diego. And we've got a couple of guests calling in. Maybe we had a little bit of a technical glitch or something. I think we lost Vince. But I'm just going to refer you to what he was saying at sdrostra.com. That's where he wrote a blog on this subject. And he's basically saying that the proposed San Diego permit rules for medical marijuana dispensaries fall short of public demands. And he's saying for three reasons. One is lack of public transparency. That's what he was talking about. The public wants to know when these dispensaries are going to be placed near them. By about two-thirds of them say they'd like to know that in a poll. I think Vince is saying here that the transparency just isn't there. Law enforcement concerns are weakly addressed, he says, and taxpayers, not dispensary owners and employees, all shoulder the costs of more unruly dispensaries. And, of course, he's not putting the blame on the employees or the managers, the owners of the dispensaries themselves, but on what is attracted there, in my analogy, of course, was crime goes up near liquor stores as well. So that's probably a fair analogy. So maybe we can talk to Vince another time about that, but in the meantime, I refer you to his blog.
Thank you very much.
I mentioned Vince was editor-in-chief at the California Review, which is a student newspaper at UC San Diego. And we've got a couple of guests with us right now, and I'm delighted because it's about young people leading the way for us. So we have on the line with us is Gabriella Hoffman and Alec Weisman, both from California Review at UCSD. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Glad you could both make it on. I understand that maybe our technical glitch had to do with how many people on the line. So glad the two of you are on, and I think you both know Vince, who just joined us. Tell us a little bit. Vince gave us a snapshot of some of the California Review history earlier, and was praising the two of you. I don't know if you were able to listen. But I guess the California Review started way back in the 1980s. And, of course, I wrote for it for a time. I didn't go to UC San Diego. I was at actually San Diego State. But someone asked if I would be kind of the San Diego State liaison back in the day. And that was, that was a few years ago, 10 or 15 or actually 20 or 25 now that I think about it. So tell us a little bit about the California Review and what you're trying to do. Either one of you.
California Review was formed in 1982, and we are basically the second oldest newspaper on campus at UCSD. And right now we've really picked it up and started to run with it after getting it back on its feet last year.
Correct.
And I would say that we're actually getting into a bunch of other new divisions of the paper itself. We're expanding it to between 2 and 3 issues a quarter. And we're also adding on an interview section where we are going to be discussing issues with local politicians and local activists and getting their take to help the students get involved and get more energized towards politics.
And Alec, you're the editor-in-chief, is that right?
Correct.
And Gabriella is a staff writer?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess you're probably both making a ton of money doing this.
No, this is strictly voluntary.
Is this from the heart? Is this about love of the effort here? What is this about?
Well, of course, when writing articles for this paper, you're strictly doing this, out of voluntary initiative. Like anything good in life, that's what you have to do. So no monetary compensation, which is all right, but we do it for the love of writing and for our love of conservative values and mindset.
It's definitely important to get our word and our take out to the student body, which is so often spun by the professors that teach us.
I can't imagine that would be going on. Really? Professors spinning something to students? Okay. Well, what you mentioned the oldest newspaper on campus. You're the second. What's the oldest newspaper on campus?
There's a debate about that.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought. Yeah. Is it the standard school newspaper?
Technically, it is, but from what I've heard, it's had a name change or two here and there. And then technically, we have someone trying to say that they're before us, because they got an actual issue out.
We won't fight about all that tonight. But I'm glad to know you're there. And as I remember, it may have been one of the California Review, when it started, I believe, was one of the first conservative student newspapers in the country, along with the Dartmouth Review. There may have been a couple of others. Trying to jog my memory now back to those days. But so it's been continuously published since 1982. Is that correct?
Almost continuously. We've had a few periods where they've been either drop off or 1 year or 2 years will have gone without an issue. But it's been pretty well continuous, other than a small period of about 3 to 4 years in the late 80s and the late 90s.
Okay, Gabriella, tell me then some of the things you're writing about.
Well, I'm currently in the process of writing several articles. I actually just wrote one more like in an essay format that I'm planning to publish on the California Review blog about what my take on conservatism is. I recently submitted that essay to a conservative think tank's essay contest. So I'm going to transfer that with modification to the blog. And then I'm thinking about, I'm in the process of writing some more socially, I guess, geared articles. Not really like the standard topics that are discussed. And then, of course, standard ones, but something along that line.
That sounds great. Where do folks find this information if they want to go online?
If you go online, we're actually launching our website to coordinate with the 28th anniversary, God, it's a long time, of the California Review. And that'll be on January 7th. It'll be californiareview.net. Currently, if someone wants to view the California Review, it's UCSD Cal, C-A-L, Rev, R-E-V, .wordpress.com.
Okay, give that to us again, Alec.
All right, UCSD Cal, Rev, .wordpress.com.
Okay, that's WordPress in the middle, .com. And before that, UCSD Cal Rev.
Correct. And that's been around for about 4 months now, 4 to 6 months, I believe. And we've had about 4,000 views.
Excellent. And, UCSD is really known as a bastion of conservatism, the school itself. I'm sure you both agree with me. So how are you viewed by the students on campus and the professors? And I'm kidding, of course, about the bastion of conservatism. I think everybody picked up on that.
Well, I view, and I think a lot of people within, let's say, the college Republicans that we belong to, and those who espouse conservative beliefs would say that our campus is largely apathetic, meaning that there are those on the extreme, ends of either spectrum that cling to their beliefs, and then there's like a large select, group that is, that has no association or no ties to politics and doesn't want to have one whatsoever. So that's what it is on campus. But there are a lot of people who are concerned, but just wish to refrain from it in general because they're really studious, I guess.
That's great. Well, I applaud the two of you for your work, for keeping this spirit alive of student conservative journalism right here on our, certainly it's fair to say it's the most liberal campus in San Diego County. So it's great that you're here. If folks, because of the website, it's being launched and all that, if folks want to get a hold of us, I can transfer the information to anybody who wants to get a hold of me through San Diego Rostra. And actually, Gabriella is one of our new writers. We wanted to have some youth representation at SD Rostra, so that's www.sdrostra.com. You can contact Gabriella through the website or myself through the website. So thank you for the two of you being on, and we look forward to a lot more discussions with you in the future. Thank you. All right, we're going to have...